funniest thing in Europe is what people think about Dubai. So I recently traveled to Europe, and anytime I mentioned that I'm living in Dubai, the reaction was crazy. The funniest one was in Italy. When I said that, oh yes, me and my wife, we are living in Dubai, we are traveling to Europe, the taxi driver told me, oh, Dubai, wow, it's a city of the future, Dubai is a legend. And I was like, why so? What's the reason? And he says, oh, for us and people in Italy and just in Europe, anyone who's going to Dubai is probably so rich, but people who live there are probably like a millionaires. It's, you know, it's gold everywhere, it's luxury, it's supercars. And I noticed that there's a big misconception about Dubai, that everyone thinks that we are so wealthy, we have golden toilets in our houses and Lamborghinis in our garages, and all of us are super wealthy. Because majority of people in Dubai, they are in the middle class, they make good income, it's good enough to travel abroad, but it's not something that ultra luxury. However, it's still kinda cool because everyone looks at you as a super special person just because you are living there.
So you've probably seen a ton of those internet gurus flexing their 0% tax in Dubai, but living there isn't actually as good as most people think it is. Like, obviously you're gonna save a ton of money and just have a lot of zeros in your bank account, but after doing some of my own research, I wouldn't even live there for free. Because what they don't tell you is that the air pollution is absolute garbage, the water quality is absolute garbage, and chances are you won't see your family more than like once or twice a year. Pretty much all of these guys are trading fancy cars and watches for their health and relationships with their family.
The next thing is the summer. The summer is atrocious. It's awful. The weather is really bad. It's not necessarily the heat, although it gets to like 45 degrees. It's Celsius. It's way too hot. It's the humidity. It gets incredibly humid. You know when you like you're cooking and you open the oven door and you get hit by steam? It's not quite that bad, but in the summer it is awful. Like your sunglasses steam up, you can't really breathe properly, you're gonna be just sitting there sweating, you can't go outside, you have to go from air-conditioned house to air-conditioned taxi to air-conditioned office to air-conditioned restaurant to you can't really go anywhere. You kind of get this weird cabin fever because it is just so unbearable outside. Even in like October and September, even in like April, it's better, but you're still going to be sweating at 8 p.m. and it's not very pleasant. So there is that. Now, the other thing, and this is a huge one that no one talks about, is the air quality. So the AQI stands for the Air Quality Index, and you can look this up. No one really talks about this, but when you think about bad pollution and bad air quality, you think about China, you think about Beijing, you think about Mumbai, you think about cities in Bangladesh, you think you see these awful sort of polluted cities. It's interesting to know that Dubai is up there, I think, with the top, don't quote me on this, but I think it's in the top 10 of worst cities for air pollution and air quality. And if you check this out, it's true. You can Google it and you'll see it, and then you can compare it to these European cities and stuff. It's really bad.
Picture this: a stretch of empty desert, nothing but sand and scorching heat. Then, almost overnight, gold-plated skyscrapers, man-made islands visible from space, ATMs that spit out gold bars. Dubai didn't just grow, it detonated. And the world watched, convinced they were seeing the future being built in real time. But here's the question nobody asks out loud. What if the whole thing is a mirage? Because beneath the glitter and the record-breaking architecture, something is quietly cracking. Supercars left to rot in the desert sun. Ghost megaprojects half buried in sand. Millions of workers with zero rights. And a financial model so fragile that one bad global quarter could bring everything down. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 20 most alarming signs that Dubai's golden era might already be over. Close your eyes and picture a Ferrari. Now open them. What you're looking at isn't a dealership, it's a graveyard. Row after row of Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and Ferraris abandoned in airport parking lots, baking under the Arabian sun. Some still have the keys in the ignition. Others have something far more haunting on the dashboard, a handwritten note, a quiet apology from someone who knew they were never coming back. Why would anyone walk away from a fortune on wheels? The answer is brutal. In the UAE, failing to repay a loan is a criminal offense. Miss your payments and you don't get a lawyer, you get a prison cell. Facing total collapse, these so-called moguls made the only rational choice left: vanish. They fled with nothing but the clothes on their backs, leaving their luxury cars as silent witnesses to a ruthless system. And here's the darkest twist: Dubai didn't waste a second mourning it, they monetized the disaster. These junkyards are now a tourist attraction, a business built entirely on other people's ruin. That tells you everything you need to know about how this city operates. In the heart of one of the world's most hostile deserts, someone decided to plant 50 million flowers. The Dubai Miracle Garden, 72,000 square meters of color, a life-sized Airbus, a 380 covered in petals, Disney sculptures shattering Guinness records, visually overwhelming. Ethically, a catastrophe. Think about what it takes to keep flowers alive when the temperature hits 50 degrees Celsius. The answer is millions of liters of desalinated water every single day. And desalination isn't some clean, innocent process. It's an energy-devouring machine that fires carbon emissions straight into the atmosphere, making this garden one of the most environmentally damaging tourist sites on the planet. To make it worse, every year it's torn down and rebuilt from scratch, with soil and flowers imported from thousands of kilometers away. It is the perfect monument to Dubai's philosophy. Build something spectacular, take the applause, and never once think about what happens tomorrow. Here's a number that should stop you cold. Only 15% of people living in Dubai are actually Emirati citizens. The other 85% are temporary foreign workers, Indians, Pakistanis, Egyptians, who came chasing opportunity only to slam into an invisible wall. No path to citizenship, no permanent residency. Your right to exist in this city depends entirely on having a job. The moment that job disappears, so do you. These workers build the skyscrapers, maintain the roads, clean the malls. They are the engine of everything Dubai claims to be, but they have zero stake in its future. The moment a better opportunity appears elsewhere, they leave. And when enough of them leave at the same time, the city stops functioning. That's not speculation, that's math. Can a society survive long-term when the majority of its population is treated as a disposable part? What's coming next makes that question even harder to answer. Camel racing has been part of Arabian culture for over 1,000 years. But today in Dubai, you won't see human jockeys on those camels. You'll see robots, small metal frames with remote-controlled whips, while their owners chase alongside in SUVs at full speed. It sounds absurd, and it is. For decades, this beloved tradition had a horrifying secret. Children trafficked from impoverished countries were used as jockeys, underfed to stay light and exposed to mortal danger every race. International pressure eventually forced a change. Dubai's answer? Robots. Swap out the children, clean up the image, and move on. But the robots didn't fix anything systemic. The same exploitative patterns, the same disregard for invisible workers, moved into construction sites, domestic service, and the back rooms of luxury hotels. The problem wasn't solved. It was rebranded. The Dubai Mall isn't a shopping center, it's an indoor city. Over 1 million square meters under one roof, ice skating in the desert, an aquarium with 10 million liters of water housing 33,000 marine creatures, and luxury boutiques that would make European capitals blush. Jaw-dropping on the surface, terrifying underneath. Keeping tens of thousands of marine animals alive in the middle of the Arabian desert demands a staggering amount of energy and climate control costs that never stop, not for a single hour. The pandemic made this brutally clear. Doors closed, revenue vanished, but the systems kept running and the animals still needed care. The bills kept arriving with nothing coming in to cover them. This is the core vulnerability of Dubai's entire economic model. It only works if the tourists never stop coming. The moment that tap turns off, the dream becomes a financial trap. Here's something that sounds like a joke, but absolutely isn't. Until 2015, Dubai had no conventional address system, no street names, no house numbers. If you wanted a package delivered, you gave directions like the building next to the crooked palm tree, or the house near the White Mosque. Emergency services navigated by landmark. Entire districts were built before anyone decided what to call the streets. Dubai eventually launched a digital coordinate system to patch the chaos. But the patch itself confirms the pattern. Build first, deal with consequences later. It works when money is flowing and momentum is unstoppable. But when that momentum stalls, the accumulated mess of skip fundamentals demands to be paid back with interest. No structure symbolizes Dubai's ambition more than the Burj Khalifa, 828 meters tall, weighing as much as 100,000 elephants, a genuine engineering miracle. But most people don't know what it used to be called. Its original name was Burj Dubai. Then the 2008 financial crisis hit, construction stalled, and the city ran out of money. Dubai had to go, hat in hand, to its wealthy neighbor Abu Dhabi and beg for a bailout. The rescue came with one condition: rename the building after Abu Dhabi's president. The tallest building on the planet is a monument not just to ambition but to dependency. Under all that glass and steel, Dubai cannot stand on its own. Maintaining the structure costs millions annually. Just cleaning the exterior takes 3 months of continuous work. Every record it holds comes with a price tag that never makes it into the tourist brochures. For decades, Dubai's most powerful selling point had nothing to do with luxury or architecture. It was 3 words: zero corporate tax. That single promise pulled in companies and high net worth individuals from every corner of the globe. Why pay your government when Dubai took nothing? That era officially ended in June 2023. Under heavy international pressure to crack down on money laundering and tax evasion, the UAE introduced a 9% corporate tax. Compared to most countries, 9% is modest, but for Dubai, it's an earthquake. The biggest competitive advantage the city had, the thing that separated it from every other luxury destination on earth, is gone. Companies that relocated specifically for the tax advantage are already eyeing the exit, looking for the next jurisdiction with looser rules. In a city that runs entirely on the constant injection of foreign capital, any outward flow isn't just a warning sign, it's the beginning of a very dangerous trend. So here we are, skyscrapers built over open sewers, artificial islands slowly sinking, a legal system that jails people for missing loan payments, a workforce of millions who built everything you see and own nothing they've built, and a financial model that just surrendered its greatest advantage, watching the consequences unfold in slow motion. Dubai sold the world a dream, and for a dazzling, breathtaking while it delivered. But no city survives forever on spectacle alone. The oil is running out, the climate isn't forgiving, and capital is a coward. At the first serious sign of weakness, it disappears. What shines today like 1,000 suns above the Arabian desert may one day be remembered as the most expensive lesson in human ambition ever carved in glass and sand. The question isn't whether the cracks are real. The question is how much longer the gold can cover them. Do you think Dubai pulls off the soft landing, or is the bubble already deflating? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this kind of deep dive is what you're here for, subscribe and hit the bell. The next one goes even deeper.